Hey, YouTube, I'm Brick Smith with Kevin. Kevin.
Hello.
The word is aloysius is everyone's favorite.
That is, I've heard.
Aloysius. So it's now for instance more ever be aloysius until I change it again for something else.
Very good.
Hey, Kevin.
Hello, Julian.
Hey,
hello,
Kevin.
Internet. Hello, YouTube.
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm ready to continue our tale for all of our loyal, dedicated listeners and viewers.
Hardcore sorting heads.
I did the forever sorting heads. Thank you guys.
Sorting heads. We thank you for being our friend.
Thank you for sticking with us. We're back again for another episode of this journey.
This thing we love. No, that's not it.
Exactly. I can't remember what. I think we're 40 episodes in, 50 episodes in.
This is episode 46. Now let's all right for those dedicated the listeners that are dedicated to us, and they all let's be more specific. This is our 46th episodic episode.
Right.
The special episodes. I updated my let me look. I'm going to take a second. I'm looking to see the playlist that I updated yesterday. It'll tell us how many videos I have on it. Let me look. Because
that will include our specials.
Yes. So bear with me because I don't know how to work the internet.
Well, so while Julian is looking that up, let me welcome you guys back in for another episode. My name is Kevin. If you guys have any interest in following me outside of this program, you can find me online at kevinahinkle.com. That is my website. You can find me on social media at Mr. Kevin Hinkle.
Oh, you ready to get going? Okay.
If you would, you can still. That's fine. I'm just trying to keep the momentum going. If you would like to follow just my work as a freelance artist, you can find me at Mr. Hinkle Draws. That is where I share my artwork, graphic design, illustration, model making with Lego elements as well. Did you get the answer to the playlist?
Very much so. Yes, sir.
How many total videos?
You ready?
Yes.
So this is episode 46 on Kevin's story. Without the specials, this is episode 46. With the specials, there are 62 episodes.
Crazy, guys.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
We should. We're not going to, but theoretically, we should take the average run time of all of those. Because first you'd have to find out what that is, and I'm not going to do that math. But find the average time and then add it, times 62, and see how much of our life we have been talking. But you're a pro at this. You talk on the internet all the time.
Who, me?
You. I
definitely try.
You live and thrive on the internet.
That's true. Thank you, sir.
So
glad somebody noticed.
So I noticed. So before we kick into the newest episodic installment, I told you guys where to find me. Let me throw a couple more things out there before we get going.
I'm trying to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. I know how it goes. So you guys, just so you know, there is a comic series that I run for Lego fans called Bricks in the Middle. You can find that on bricksinthemiddle.com or on social media at BITM Comics. Definitely appreciate all the love and support we get there. Really appreciate when you guys like the comics and you share them out on social media. There is also a merch store. If you are interested in buying Bricks in the Middle merch, you can find that on the website. And AFL shirts is another thing I do. I am currently wearing one of the more recent AFL shirts. These are shirts I designed. I did not design the Bass Pro Shops logo, but this is a service I run in partnership.
If you did, it'd be better
with Chris Clutch or Klitsch from Bricks on the Dollar. You can find information at bricksonthedollar.com. You can subscribe to get a shirt like this mailed to you every month. If you don't want to wait for that and you just want a certain shirt, you can go to our Amazon store, which is also found right there on the same link, and you can get specific cuts for women and children. You can also choose different colors, and very exciting to announce that we've updated the Amazon store, so you can also get long sleeve shirts.
Oh,
you can also get I think there's sweatshirts.
Oh,
you want to do sweatshirts. And there's a couple other things. There's like a couple other varieties that you can do. V-necks.
Oh.
And we've added more colors. Tank tops.
Oh my!
I like the world is your oyster, folks. You can choose, and there's a lot of designs on there. There's more than 12 designs.
Did you say oysters?
The world is your oyster. Could you eat?
I could eat.
Very good. So check that out, folks. I appreciate it. Yes, every shirt sold does support me as an artist. It helps pay the bills. It helps put food on the table. I appreciate it. And hopefully you like them. Hopefully you think the designs are cool.
Now I will say this: there has been shirts that certain, like myself, there's been certain designs I'm like, nah.
Yeah, sure.
But here's the thing: the greater Lego community as a whole, there has not been a shirt yet that everybody was like, nah.
Yeah, that's
somebody likes the shirt always.
Yeah. I am very. It's the same thing with the comics. I'm very fortunate in that there has not yet been a comic or a shirt that is just a total dud. Yeah. Like different people like different ones for different reasons. They appeal to different people for different reasons. And that's okay. That's what I want. Absolutely. I want to be able to, delight different groups of people at different times.
Amen.
That's the goal.
Is that the goal? That's
one of the goals.
Okay.
So when we were talking 2 weeks ago, it seems like an eternity ago.
Yeah.
We hit a rough patch. We were.
By the way, can we just talk about some of the comments we got?
You please.
Okay. I'm gonna pull that up on my phone. It'll be a little faster. I say that, and now it's spin.
Buffering,
yeah. Where'd it go? That was episode 43, right? Where we were 45.
Yeah, because we didn't do it last time. We took a spell.
Yeah, we did.
A chill pill and just kind of.
You're welcome, Reed. Is this the one that hurt my heart? Yeah, 40. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you should read them.
I'm so glad you got him up. All right, let's see. Here. I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Because there's some good stuff in here.
Okay, let's see. Boop, 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 boop. 44, right?
Yeah.
44.
By the way, folks, 44 is literally the episode where you see Kevin lose his mind.
Oh, unhinged.
It's it, fully blown, unhinged.
I mean, we hit some nerves in that.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin is usually a diplomatic speaking. He chooses his words very, very specifically.
Yeah,
bro.
Hey, sometimes I gotta call out injustices when I see them.
You definitely did that, sir.
So let's see. I'm looking at episode 44. We got some comments here. Collecting Bricks said, all caught up. Kevin's story keeps on getting sadder and sadder. Can we all send past Kevin a virtual hug? Thanks, Collecting Bricks. Appreciate it. Bricks Ninja said, was that a Sheriff Hinkle cameo at 4? It might have been. I was the voice in my stop motion for the sheriff. I hate my own voice. I can't stand it, but I will. And then Bricks Ninja also said, are the Lego group's true colors and quotes listed in the Lego color chart?
Oh,
there is a that's supposed to be like a clever. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Go Ninja. Go Ninja.
Our very dedicated, loyal viewer, Dude Jude, said, good job, guys. Keep up the good work. I think he says that every week.
Every single.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Bricks on the Dollar says, Kevin is here and he's off the rails, brother.
Oh, yeah. He's off. No. Kevin is here and he's off the rails, brother.
There it is. Pretty good. We have a Bricksar comment. Bricksar says, I hated Rebrick. I hate it even more now. Everything I earn, I keep. Everything you earn, I keep. Yeah, that's 100%. I feel like I'm watching a movie that is based on a real story that we all know the ending to, yet I keep hoping for a different. Yeah, that's kind of.
Who said that?
That's Bricksar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strawbrick says, question. I'm still catching up on the series. Just started episode 33 today. So not sure if you've discussed this question already. What has been the largest source, pick a brick, bulk eBay purchases, lug bulk, set part outs, contributing to my brick collection? The single largest source would probably be probably sets is probably the biggest contributor, but all of those factor.
Yeah, I'm going to answer that question as well. Brick jams. Okay.
Blockhead UK says, now we're getting to the nitty gritty.
Yeah, we are. That's cash.
Something,
people.
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. Winky face.
Is that where that comes from? Is it a Lego?
Sounds like a truly terrible way to keep and motivate your staff. 100%. No wonder it drove you to cussing. Yeah. And then another favorite of the show, Reed Hope Castle says, first, sixth, at least your boss told you something. When we get to the stories from the Kells Angels retail employees, people will find out the management outside the immediate stores wasn't much better. Perhaps on your last episode, you should try and get all of the Kells Angels on the show at once. That'd be too much. I remember talking to you in 2012 when I was also working for, rough times. So those are all the comments on that one. So thank all of you for putting those in there.
Those were good comments, man.
Appreciate it. Appreciate taking the time to listen and share your thoughts on it. And as I've said multiple times, obviously this is my side of all these stories. I'm sure that, we all tend to embellish our own sides a little bit, but I try to be somewhat factual and just.
This boy, Kevin, it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
They're garbage. I mean, they're not garbage.
Yes.
So
that was in 2012. 2013, getting like the very beginning of 2013, 2012 was when all that stuff happened. The kind of the tipping point.
Yeah.
The point at which I'm like, wow, you guys have truly let me down.
You have forsaken and abandoned me in my time of need.
Yeah, and that's 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 7 years into my career there.
Right.
So after, truly just pouring 7 years of time and energy and passion, I did at that point really feel like I don't think I really matter that much to them. Yeah. Like that's when that's kind of the aha moment. It's I don't really, it doesn't mean that I'm going to start easing up on my job performance at all, but it's just that's when these seeds were planted. I don't think I matter too much.
That's a shame. You should never feel like that in your job.
Yeah. That's from what Blockhead UK said, it's not really a great way to motivate your workforce. And that moment, that kind of pivotal moment when I am sitting there, and I was talking to Tormid and Infield about I need help. I need your support.
Yeah.
And it was met with you're just not doing a good job. You need to be better at being busy. And I just sat there and don't think for weeks and weeks I didn't wrap my head around that statement going, am I doing this wrong? Am I not managing? And I talked about this a little bit, right? I talked about getting better at managing my email inbox and proper etiquette and getting to the root of emails and how quick should I do it? And should I put stuff in the subject matter because maybe I'm not using it right. And I took courses on how to properly behave in meetings.
You should never have done any of that.
But all of that was me thinking, and of course, did it help? Yeah. I learned some things that are helpful, but this is all me being led to believe that the reason I'm so overwhelmed and so stressed is my own doing. It's because I'm doing something wrong. I'm not performing my duties accurately.
Well, I can tell you now that that's not the case because I know what you manage when we're not doing forever sorting. And bro, you're good.
Yeah. So that was stuff that was floating around through my head, but whatever.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was by myself, but they decided to finally backfill the role. And so that was filled by a gentleman by the name of Keith. So Keith took on the role that Jim used to have, but the role had been switched over to Denmark. So he was the senior operations manager for our team, the manager of the community managers. So the team was still myself and Jan Beyer and Kim Thompson, and we were now reporting to Keith, and Keith was based in Billund. Keith was an internal hire. He came over from within the company. I want to say he was working something with like R&D, like actual like, factory stuff. And so he came over, and then that was the start of a whole different chapter. So I'll say that even today, in reflection, Keith is no longer with the Lego Group. I think he was there for a year, maybe a year and a half.
Okay.
In our department from his Lego career, which had only lasted, I think, a few years. He ended up quitting Lego altogether after working in our department.
What does that say about your department?
Yeah, and moved. Ended up moving back. So he's originally from America. He was American, and he had moved many years prior to Denmark, actually, to work for. It was one of the wind turbine companies. I don't think it was Vestas. Maybe it was Vestas.
But the rest of us.
Yeah, but it was to work for one of the companies that focuses on like wind turbines and energy. And so he moved to Denmark for that. And of course, if you live in Denmark, you're bound to work for Lego eventually. And so he ended up getting a job at Lego. And so after he left, he ended up moving back to the United States, which is where he's from. But to this day, I'm not quite sure I ever really understood Keith. And I wasn't alone in that.
In what sense?
I couldn't quite pick up if he was like really poor at communication or if he was like maliciously trying to just, forgive my French, piss people off, or if he was like just ignorant.
Yeah.
But he clashed hard with everyone.
Interesting.
And I mean everyone. I'm talking from the community, internally, from us, from other areas of the business, other departments. He just clashed hard. And like I said, I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know if it's just he's a poor communicator or if he like has this malicious intent. But there was a lot of clashing. So he came on.
So you got to, I'm going to cut you. You got to ask yourself, which is worse, someone who's ignorant or someone who's mean?
Right. I don't know. But he came in, and like I said, the clashes started almost immediately, but he was really focused on Yan and Kim, like laser focused on them. How do I support them? How do I help them? If they're not doing something right, how do I discipline them? Like he was really so again, I was kind of still left to my own devices.
I love that.
So you can imagine I also am like, wow, I need help, and you ignore me, and then you bring on someone new and you put it in the other country. The ones that are not jumping up and down, flailing their hands saying, help us, help us, help us.
The ones that are not in need.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's floating in my head. But there's work to be done, ladies and gentlemen. There is a community of folks in North America and South America that need their community manager, and I am there to serve. So I did that. And long days. This is now for the chronology here. We're in 2013.
Yeah.
So we were in 2013. I have gone on the record to say that was the year that broke the camel's back. That was also known as the year of travel. People have asked me, a lot, like, how often do you travel and what's the most you've ever done? 2013 was the year I traveled the most in my whole life.
Wow.
For reference, I went to 13 shows. That includes Brick Fair Alabama, Bricks Cascade, Brick Fair New England, Brick World Chicago, Brick Fiesta, Brick Fete Toronto, Brick Fair Virginia, Bricks by the Bay, Brick World Fort Wayne, Brick Con, Bricking Bavaria in Munich, Brick Fete Montreal, And not included in that was 2 trips to Denmark. That was a hard year on just like physically. It was a hard year.
It sounds like it.
That's a lot of travel.
That is a lot.
For context, 2013, me being left to my own devices and just kind of continuing on what I know as to be the expectations of my role was, if there is a Lego fan convention in my regions, I am expected to be there. Wow. That is what I've been trained. That's what I was told when I was hired. That's what I've done. And so you guys can also see in 2013 kind of the evolution of growth, like how many new shows are popping up.
Yeah.
Because when I came in 2011, I don't remember what I said. I think it was like 6 shows or 7 shows. Like, that's it. And so now we're at 2013 and I'm up to 13 shows. And if you'll just remember, one of those shows I mentioned was Munich. I was not responsible for Europe. That was not a region I'm responsible for. But one of the things that I actually do credit Keith for, thought it was a very good idea, was he said that he felt as though the community managers on the team, myself, Yan, and Kim, didn't really have a really good perspective of the other person's region. He's like, I don't think you guys really understand each other's regions and what the community there is going through. So I am proposing that we almost kind of do an exchange thing where once a year you guys visit a fan event in the other person's region.
I do like that.
I do. I think, we all kind of resisted it at first because that's what you do. You're like, whoa, hey, I'm traveling too much already. You want me to go again to another show in someone else's area? So we resisted it. But in hindsight, I do think that was a good call. I think it was a really, really insightful thing to do. And I did do that. I did that for a couple of years. So Munich, going to Munich that year was for an event called Bricking Bavaria. And I'll get to that in a little while. But so that's why that one random European event flew in there. But that was the year of travel. So I went to all those shows. The shows that were new for that year, that had just appeared on the calendar, was Bricks Cascade. That's in Portland, Oregon. Yeah. Bricks Cascade still exists to this day. It's a very successful event. Brick Fair New England. That was the first year Brick Fair came to New England. That was very exciting. That was in Manchester, New Hampshire. And New Hampshire may seem like an odd choice. May seem like, well, why in the heck is it there? The kind of Lego significance to that location is that Manchester, New Hampshire is where the first Lego League is headquartered. And that's like first, there's first Lego League and then there's just first the organization. First is headquartered there. That is where their headquarters is. So there's kind of a big robotics thing. Also, Manchester, New Hampshire is also the home to the Lego Milliard project. If you don't know the Milliard project, I actually recommend searching from Beyond the Brick. They did a really good episode where they traveled there and did a very good overview of what that is. Okay. But the quick synopsis, the 2-sentence answer is the Milliard project is a massive minifigure scale replica of this very famous town of Manchester, New Hampshire, that used to do a lot of had a big giant rail yard, and they did a lot of textile. So it's like a giant replica of the old school textile factory in town with running trains that's in the Manchester Science Center.
I'm going to say I saw that.
Yeah, there's photos and video floating all over the place. It doesn't come up as often now, but back in the day, this was a huge thing. It was like, I want to say when they first did it, it was like a Guinness World Record because it was like the biggest minifigure scaled replica city. It took the entire infield model shop on the project. Like all of the master builders went to work on it. Wow. They also got help from the local LUG. So NELUG, the New England Lego User Group, provided them with a dozen or so members to help build with it. Nice. And it's really impressive. Like it's impressive to see it. And that is in Manchester, New Hampshire as well. So there's some kind of Lego significant reasons. The town, very tiny, teeny tiny. It is a quaint little town. But that was the first year of Brick Fair New England, but it was exciting to have a show that was so close you could drive to it. It was my first official show on the Lego dime that I just drove to because it was so close. It would take me more time to go through a flight than just to drive there.
Oh, wow.
So that was cool. So that was new. And then also BrickFet Montreal was new. So I had mentioned BrickFet before. BrickFet is the Toronto show. Unfortunately, it no longer exists. There is no BrickFet. But BrickFet had been in Toronto for a few years and had grown and grown and decided to branch out. And they did a new show in Montreal and Quebec. Oh. So that was kind of fun. It was a really great opportunity to go to Quebec. That was brand new. I think they did have it there once or twice after that, but I never went back. It was my one and only time to Montreal. All the other shows had already been around. BrickCon had been around. Bricks by the Bay has been around. Of course, Brick Fair Virginia, Brickworld Chicago have been around. But one of the other kind of notable events I went to that year was Brickworld Fort Wayne.
Right.
So I had gone to Chicago for a number of times, and that's like the big convention. And I was aware that Brickworld as an entity had started these smaller kind of expos. Brickworld Lafayette, Brickworld Tampa, Brickworld Fort Wayne, Brickworld Indy. And I didn't fully understand what they were. I kind of got the gist. Like these are smaller shows that are not full-fledged conventions. That's about all I know. Right. And I said, you know what? This is my region. This is my community. I should know. So I picked one that worked for the schedule, that worked for my schedule, which happened to be Brickworld Fort Wayne. I said, I'm going to go check out what Brickworld Fort Wayne is. It was very, in comparison to the cons, very small. I think there was maybe 40 exhibitors. Maybe 50. Maybe I'm underestimating the actual numbers, but it felt like that. The setup was Friday. There was absolutely zero AFL focused activities or games or there was nothing. It was set up, public time Saturday and Sunday, tear down, go home. And I thought it was fascinating. I don't regret going. I thought it was definitely an eye opener to see like, okay, what are these shows like? And I got to learn about the relationship for the smaller Brickworld events and like the local lugs and how they work, how they have an agreement for like helping to compensate them for their time, for like their gas, for their hotel. There's a little bit of money to be made. There is no public time. It's not a convention by any means. It is an expo. I did give a talk just because I felt like I'm Lego. I'm here. I should probably talk. So I requested an hour to talk and I did. And of course it was interesting because the event's so small that everybody was there. So it's like I have 100% participation. But I just gave a generic talk about who am I and what do I do? One of the things I remember fondly was meeting Chris Leach there. Chris Leach is the ambassador for Mishlug in Michigan. Oh, okay. And I have spent, to this day, multiple years talking to Chris. That is the one and only time I've ever met him in real life. Wow. So he does not make it to all the other shows. Mishlug is insanely busy as a lug. I dare to say they're one of the busiest lugs in the country. They usually, it is not uncommon. Take it from the guy that used to collect all the data. Yeah. It is not uncommon for them to do anywhere from 15 to 25 shows a year. They are incredibly busy. Wow. They like it. That's what they do. Yeah. So Chris would talk to me all the time because as a lug that's doing shows, you reach out for support and all that kind of stuff. So sure. I would talk to him all the time. That was the only time I got to meet him. He would never go to any of the other cons like Brickworld or Brick Fair, any of them, because they were always doing a show the same weekend. Always. So like Mishlug would be doing a show here or at a zoo or at a public expo somewhere else or a library or a science center. Like they were just always running 1,000 miles an hour. And I don't know why. I think Chris is retired. He's got time. I want to say a lot of the other active people are also retired. So, hey, if you're happy, that's awesome. But there was not many lugs in the country that were as active as Mishlug. I can't say I know from the last couple of years. I have no idea. But back in the heyday, they were number one for activity. So I got to meet Chris at Brickworld Fort Wayne. That was kind of cool. But yeah, a lot of travel, a lot of shows. From a personal level, just because this is an intimate conversation, right? This is how we get to know each other. That year really impacted my marriage, impacted my family life, because I was gone all the time. I was gone constantly. That's hard. That's hard on a family. It's hard on a significant other, because then it's like basically everything at home, bills, laundry, grocery shopping, chores, errands, kids, school, that gets put on the partner 100%.
Oh yeah.
So it was rough. It was a rough year. And something else that was very different that year, and again, this was a Keith suggestion. I think it was a good one, but I think it could be scaled back a little bit. So Keith had said that he felt as though I and the other Americans, when we would come over to Denmark, we never properly integrated back in to the team. So like we kind of felt like he felt like we were just visitors. Like we're just here, we sit at a desk, we type out some emails for 2 days, we do our annual meeting, and then we get back on a plane, we go back to infield, and we get on with our lives. And he's like, I don't feel like you guys really reconnect back with the department when you're here.
Yeah.
So I want you to stay longer. And of course, again, I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? More travel. Okay. And so his suggestion was suggestion / direction. He's my boss. Was you will come to Bill like you always do for the meeting, but you're going to stay for 2 entire weeks here.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, my wife's going to kill me. But what do you do? It's what your boss tells you to do, right?
Yeah.
So I was there. I was there in Denmark for 2 entire weeks. That was long. It's a long time to be there. 2 weeks is enough time where you get totally acclimated to being 6 hours out of your time zone.
Yeah.
And then you got to just mess it all back up by going back. That 2 weeks just happenstance that it lined up with the Munich trip. So I was in Billund for 1 full week. During the weekend, I went with Kim to Bricking Bavaria in Munich. Right. And then came back and was back in Billund for another week. Wow. That also our department meeting happened. Like I've said, we'd have annual department meetings. They ended up eventually switching that to 2 meetings per year. I don't know if 2013 was the first year they did that or 2014. I think it was 2014. Yeah. But so there's only the 1 meeting in 2013. So stayed there for 2 whole weeks. Did I feel like I integrated more into the department? Absolutely. I felt like actually sitting with them for 2 whole weeks, you actually get to know them a little bit more.
Sure.
Versus like, hey, I'm here. What meetings are we doing? All right, cool. What meeting do I go to now? All right, cool. When's lunch? Okay, guys, see you back. I'll be in infield. Like, you do feel like a little bit of a visitor. Like you're just here, like you're the external consultant.
Yeah.
So I like that. I didn't think that was a good idea. 2 weeks is a long time.
It is a long time.
It's a long time. And while Keith was there, the expectation was always 2 weeks. So I think I did 3 full trips to Billund where I was there for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Until Keith left. And then I said, hey, I have a suggestion. Can I go 1 week instead of 2 weeks? And then from then until I left Lego entirely, each trip to Billund was 1 full week.
Oh, okay.
And so I have mentioned, I took a note in my notes. As I've told you guys, I started taking notes because I'm starting to lose track of where we are.
Yeah.
I took a note forever ago about my thinking and my positioning on like travel and the Lego money and Lego budget and just like that expectation versus some of my colleagues that are maybe still there, and how there's some questionable stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
So one of those things that's always irked me is, the expectation was you're going to be in Billund for 2 full weeks, or you're going to be in Billund for 1 week. Mm-hmm. So my understanding is a week is a week. Monday to Friday, that's a week.
Yeah.
You start at 9, you end at 4 or 5 or whatever. In Billund, it's mostly 8 to 4. It's what it is.
Okay.
So I'm there at 8 and I leave at 4. So when I travel, going to Billund is no joke. That's like a 15-hour thing. Yeah. So I would plan my travel Saturday. So I would be leaving Connecticut Saturday. I would usually get to Billund Sunday afternoonish.
Yeah.
Maybe early evening-ish, go to sleep, check in, settle in the hotel. Monday morning, I'm at my desk, 8 a.m., ready to go. My colleagues didn't think that was the same. They thought, oh, well, then Monday, then I'll travel Monday. So they would kind of show up whenever. So sometimes they would show up Monday, like 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, wow, good. You're putting in 2 hours. Good for you. Or they would show up like Tuesday. And I would always just, again, I don't want to nitpick, but I'd sit there and go, we have very different definitions of what a week means.
Yeah.
And those things were never called out. They were never questioned, but it's just, one of those things, one of those gripes. On the tail end of that, right? On the tail end, a week is a week. Friday ends at 4:00. Friday doesn't end at 10:00 in the morning. So I would also usually be sitting there going, all right, well, my flight, I would usually book my flight for Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Because Friday's a day. I need to be there all day. I don't necessarily want to leave in the evening. I should probably use the time to pack and get ready. But my flight on Saturday was usually a 6 a.m. flight. My colleagues didn't agree. So we would be sitting there Friday and 11 o'clock would roll around and they'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't stay for that meeting. I got a flight back to Enfield in 30 minutes or an hour. The airport's right there. It's like directly there. And I'd sit there and go, I thought we were here for a week. Interesting. You have a different definition of what a week means. All right. Okay.
Hey, Kevin.
Yep.
Did you ever think for 1 second yours is wrong? Because if they weren't calling him, now it'd be one thing if like the people like the boss would be like, I don't think you should go.
Yeah.
That's one thing, but they're not calling him out on it. So there's a situation of Kevin's overachieving.
Maybe. But here's the deal.
Don't get me wrong. I respect your mindset.
Here's what's interesting here's what makes it extra interesting is, the Danish half of the team, half is the majority.
Right.
There's like 15 people there.
Right.
So when us Americans come over, I mean, this is like what, 3 people, 4 people? We're nothing.
Right.
We are very much the minority there. But when we're there that Monday and that Friday, you better believe the Danes complain when Americans miss the meetings. Like there was lots of whispers. There was lots of, do they really have to leave at noon? Like, I mean, they would always there was scuttlebutt abounds about it.
Well, why didn't they ever?
Because they don't like confrontation, Julia. They don't like to. But so I sit there and I'm like, again, as a sponge, right? It's like, interesting. This is all very interesting. So one of the things I took a note and I wanted to just briefly mention it. So, different perceptions and expectations of what it means. Lego is sending you there again. Okay, this is me. This is Kevin.
I'm listening.
Lego is sending you there. Lego's paying for you to go.
Yeah.
Lego says be there a week. Kevin's going to be there for a week.
Absolutely. No, I respect what you're saying. No, you're not wrong.
Yeah. No, but I hear
what the company line was.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And so that's just one of the things, just one of many things.
We're good.
But I did feel, like I said, I feel like it was a great suggestion. But yeah, until for the next year or two, I would go twice a year for 2 full weeks each time. And it's rough. And of course there's some wonderful things that happens during that time.
Sure.
Like that's when I really started to become close friends with a lot of the product designers. Mm-hmm. Just because what else am I going to do? I'm there. And after I've worked for the whole day, I can go sit in my hotel room and work all night. I can't go home to my family.
Right.
So, or I, enjoy dinner with colleagues. And so I would usually do a combination of the two. A couple nights I would just sit in the hotel room and work. I just work all day. I'd work all day to the meeting and I go to the hotel room and just work all night on emails. Or I would go have dinner with people. And so I got to be really close with Jamie Berard, product designer who did all the modular buildings. Yeah. I got to be close with Justin Ramsden, who did like the Yellow Submarine, the Stranger Things set. Marcos Bessa, who does the Ghostbusters, the Firehouse.
Yeah.
Corvin Stitcher, who works on Lego City. Pierre Normandine, who also works on Lego City. Nicholas Voss, who's from New Zealand, that does like a lot of the Lego Movie 2 stuff, and then Jago City. There was a lot of people. Mark Stafford, who did like the Exosuit, and he's worked on Chima and Nexo Knights. But so I was getting to know these people, and that was incredible. I wouldn't trade that for anything. That was, you know, we
Absolutely.
eventually over the years turned it into this tradition that when Kevin came into town, we'd round up all the designers and keep in mind designers that who are also fans of the product. That are self-proclaimed AFLs.
Yeah.
We would round up all the designers and we'd have like a barbecue at somebody's house.
Nice.
And we did that for numbers of years. There's photos on my Flickr of multiple of these barbecues. And it's like this weird who's who, like you're like, and that's, you know, like you're just like looking at all these photographs. That was amazing. During those times in Billin, I think I've mentioned this before, I got to see the Lego house be constructed. So I think this is about the time now where they decided they're going to make Lego house. And so they have to bulldoze down Billin. So where Lego house is now, that's used to be where the Billin town hall was. And so, of course, it shows you how influential and powerful Lego is in this town. They're like, we're just going to bulldoze the town hall. Is that okay?
Whatever.
You can move it, right? And they're like, oh, absolutely, of course. So they just bulldoze it over. And so I got to watch it be constructed over, a couple of years.
Nice.
And it was interesting. I do feel like I got a little bit more connected to the department through those, but that was a direction from Keith. One of the other things that I said, here's another really important thing about 2013. When we started getting near the end of the year and I had traveled so much, I made another plea for help.
Yeah.
So now I have a boss, right? So my boss's boss is no longer my interim boss.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking with Torment anymore. He's ascended back to the clouds. He came down out for no help and has ascended back up. So now I have a boss. I have a direct manager.
Yeah.
He doesn't sit in Infield. He sits in Billin, but I'm regularly talking with him. I'm having check-ins with him every week. And I'm like, help me.
Right.
So I told him, I said, look, this was near the end of the year. I go, I am so overwhelmed. And mentally from like 2012 and a little bit of 2013, I'm just like, I'm devastated. I've already told you guys why. I'm just like, I'm devastated. Now, factor in 2013 where I've traveled 13 times. I've spent 2 weeks in Denmark. I'm now physically destroyed.
I would love, I hate to cut you off. I would love for you to write down how many miles you traveled just in the job alone.
I know. It was a crazy year.
That's
It was a crazy. So I'm now like mentally just destroyed. I'm physically destroyed. And I'm just like, Keith, you're my boss. Help me.
Mm-hmm.
I am so overwhelmed. I am so stressed. We need help. And so I started this pitch to him.
Yeah.
I'm like, this used to be a 2-person job.
Yeah.
Why do I feel like why do I feel like I am insane? And that everybody around me has forgotten that this is a 2-person job. Right. And that everyone is like, Kevin, why are you so stressed all the time? Like, because I'm doing a 2-person job and I've been doing it for almost 2 years. Like, why? Like, I felt like crazy.
Yeah.
I felt like everyone has forgotten that this was like I've inherited 2 people's workloads. And everyone's just like, why is he always so high strung? Like, because I'm working 2 people's jobs and I've been doing it for years. And it's interesting because I used to, talk to my colleagues at Lego that worked in different areas and different departments. Mm-hmm. And they'd be like, I don't understand. I'm like, yeah, like take your job, for example. It has grown and it has evolved and your workload has increased. So you've justified the need to hire on extra people to help you. Right. That's why you went from having a marketing manager to having a marketing manager and associate marketing manager, because your job grew.
Right. I
went backwards. Like the job had already been justified in 2007, 2009, 2000 whatever, that, this is a 2-person job to manage fan interactions between the Lego brand and the AFL community for North America. Right. So we should have 2 people doing this. This is why you had Steve Witt and Jim Folds doing it for years.
Right.
And before that, you had Jake McKee and Steve Witt doing it for years. It had already spent decades established as a 2-person job.
That makes sense.
And then it's gone.
There it is.
And like I'm sitting there going, the difference between us is your job grew and you brought somebody else in. My job had already proved to the business it was a 2-person job. They removed one, and now they're acting like, why is this guy having such a hard time handling this?
Yeah.
Like, it's not the same. I spent a lot. I mean, I'll be honest. I spent a lot of time complaining that year. I was very aggravated. I felt still quite abandoned.
Yeah.
And frustrated. So I made this pitch to Keith, and I thought, new boss, benefit of the doubt, right? Let's see how this goes.
Mm-hmm.
I poured it all in again, just like I did with Torment. I poured my life and soul into this pitch.
Yeah.
Get me help. And he was like, well, what are you looking for? I'm like, I don't care. Give me a partner. Give me a lackey. Give me an intern. Give me anyone.
Anything.
I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if I'm not in charge. Like, this is a 2-person job and I'm by myself. And he came back with an answer not terribly dissimilar to what Tormed said.
Oh, lovely.
And it wasn't at all what I was expecting.
And
he said, well, for your travel, let's look at your travel, Kevin. You went to 13 shows this year. I'm like, I did. It's like, well, don't.
Huh.
And I just kind of sat there and I stared at him. I was like, just don't. It's like, don't. Lego doesn't have to be at all those shows. It's like, well, but I mean, that's what I've been told since I was hired.
Yeah.
Yeah, but things have changed and the people that hired you are not here anymore. And now I'm your boss. Just don't.
Don't.
Okay. Well, what? I was so off kilter.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Well, what should I do then? It's like, well, let's just pick a number. I don't know. 8. You can only go to 8 shows a year.
8 shows.
And I'm like, and I immediately was like, my mind went straight to the fans.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not going to be good.
Nope.
That is going to be a very poor brand perception. They are going to feel as though the Lego company has walked away from them, is what they're going to feel like. He said I was overreacting with that. He said that he didn't believe my assessment of that situation was accurate. Yeah. Again, this is my job. This is what I get paid to do.
Yeah.
I'm paid to listen to fans, watch fans, talk to fans, understand how fans think.
Yep.
But I'm told I'm not doing that accurately. And I'm like, okay. And again, sure, maybe you're right then. Maybe I'm not doing it right. But I'm told that my perception was overblown, that if I cut back on my travel, that they won't see that as the Lego company walking away. They'll just understand that resources are limited and we can't be at all the shows. We ended to disagree on that, but we moved on.
Yeah.
And that was something that happened a lot between me and Keith, is that we would end it and I'd say, I'm going to agree to disagree, but you are my boss and we're going to move forward with your direction. Yeah. I said that a lot. I said that a lot with Keith. We're going to agree to disagree, but it's your call because you're in charge. Also, what was interesting is, again, with change, I cringe, right? We all do. I'm like, oh, 8 is so far down from 13. Yeah. What shows do I cut off? Where do I not go? It turns out that Keith wasn't ever really meaning to say 8. He just wanted to get me kind of used to that drastic change. The real number was 6. Oh. I wasn't informed of that until after I had literally spent weeks dwelling on 2014. What shows am I going to go to in 2024? Who's going to lose Lego representation? Yeah. And I had finally, excruciatingly come up with a list of these are the shows I'm going to go to. And he's like, oh, actually the number's 6, Kevin. And I was like, you told me 8. Yeah. He's like, I know, but I kind of wanted to get you a little bit more used to cutting back. So it's going to be 6 is the real number. Wow. I felt just slapped. Sure. I was like, I've spent weeks trying to figure out how I can get 8. And now you want me to cut 2 more? And I mean, this was excruciating for me.
Yeah, imagine so.
This is Lego group acknowledgement and recognition and representation at shows by our highest affinity consumers. Yeah. This is, I feel wrong. Yeah. I feel wrong about this. And I shared all this with him. I mean, he was just like, Kevin, you're overreacting. You're too passionate. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. All right. I agree to disagree. So the final, I was informed. So from 2014 on,
Yeah.
I was limited to only going to 6 shows per year.
Wow.
Not the answer I was looking for.
No.
I thought when I said, hey, look how much I'm traveling, look how much I'm working, help. I didn't think the answer was, let's scale back our operations. I thought the answer was, let's go back to the way it used to be with 2 people.
Yeah.
But whatever. So from then on, that was the year that broke the camel's back. That was the year of travel, was 2013. And it was a year to never be repeated. It never happened again. I never went to that many shows again. That was officially, that was the last year that Lego was at all the shows. You could not say that, and you still cannot say that from then on.
Yeah.
I can tell you with certainty, up to that point, up to 2014, Lego was always at a convention in the United States. Always.
Wow.
If there was a show and it happened, we were there. It has never been repeated since then. And shows have, obviously the landscape has continued to grow. There's still shows popping up.
Yeah.
Other shows have folded. There's been a couple shows that have gone away.
Yeah.
But that happened. I also, here's another one of those just like piercing spears in the heart.
Yeah.
When I talked about other workload issues, like email issues and phone call issues, Keith said something that I'll never forget.
Oh dear.
I said, well, what about the emails? And he said, Kevin, just delete them.
What?
And I was like,
what?
And again, as I said, this is not terribly dissimilar to what Tormund told me.
Right.
And I'm like, just delete them. And he's like, yeah, you don't need to answer all the emails. So what? I'm like, but this is my job. My job, the Lego company has hired me and gives me a check so that I understand the Lego fan community, and I can't understand them if I don't talk to them.
Right.
Like, and this happened a lot during the Keith era. And I don't really hold malice towards him.
No, I get that.
This is why I said in the beginning, I don't understand where he was coming from. Like, I don't feel like he was this evil guy.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
But I feel like he just didn't quite understand the expectations of a role that's centered around relationship building. Yeah. Like, it's not like he came from the factory floor, right? Like, he's used to like, how many things do you make in the machines and how fast are they going and how do we fix it? Yeah. Like, kind of a very mechanical mindset, which works really well in that setting. And he was coming into a very like touchy-feely relationship area. Yeah. Like, and I mean, that's what it is. The fact of the matter is community management is about feelings. Yeah. It's about working with a relationship. It's about nurturing a relationship with people. And then you can do all kinds of other things with it. Once you've built a relationship and you have it at a good place, yes, you can quote unquote use them. You can use them to do marketing initiatives. You can use them when you need their help to set up a display in a theater for the Lego movie. Like, there's things that you can get for the benefit of the company out of that relationship, as long as you keep the relationship healthy. Sure. And I don't think he understood that. No. And so, he came out, just like I said, a couple of suggestions were good. I was like, that's pretty good. And there were some other things that he did install that are good. Yeah. So one of the other things Keith kind of put his flag down was he didn't like the difference in appearance that myself and Kim and Yan had when we were at shows. So if you guys remember back from a couple episodes ago, several months ago, I told you that Jim was very particular with me in wearing a uniform. Right. He's like, when you're at this show, you represent the Lego company. Yeah. I want you in all black. I want you looking sharp. I want shiny shoes. I want a belt. I want tucked in shirt. You look good. Right. And I said, makes total sense, boss. Yeah. You got it. And so that's what I always wore. Kim and Yan didn't wear that. They most of the time just wore t-shirts and jeans. That's what they wore. Okay. Now I get that Europe is different. I understand. Yeah. It is different culture. And I never really necessarily had a problem with it. I don't really care. I was too busy worrying about my own area of the world. Right. But so Keith is now in charge and he's observing. So Keith did come to one or two of events in my area and just like watched me and what I did. Yeah. He did the same thing for Kim. He did the same thing for Yan. He didn't like the way they were dressed. He liked the way I was dressed. And so he said, I want a universal uniform for all the community managers, but it should be branded.
Yeah.
And so I was just wearing like a Lego polo with a logo on it.
Yeah.
So we had uniforms made up. So this is now like in the story again, we're like end of 2013, beginning of 2014.
Mm-hmm.
In 2014, year of the Lego movie, very important.
Oh yeah.
So we had uniforms made up, which were the community polos. You can go back through photos and see that. It's a black polo. It's got a big old Lego logo. It says community team on it.
Yeah.
And then it had like a big 2x4 gray brick on the side. And on the back, giant letters community team. And what's funny is like, why it's kind of gaudy. Like, why do you do that? Well, you know, we were usually in the position of being pointed out at shows when we were there. When you're the only representative of the company in the middle of 100,000 square foot expo hall,
yeah,
people point you out a lot because they go, "Oh, you want to talk to Lego? Lego's over there. Oh, ask the Lego guy. He's right over there." Like all the time, all day. Sure. And so I said, "Well, let's just make it easy for them and slap a giant logo on our bags, because we might as well, right? Might as well." So that's what they did. They just slapped a giant logo on our back, and I said, "That's fine. Doesn't bother me." Kim and Yan weren't as they didn't dig it.
No,
they were like they felt like it was too flashy, it was too gaudy. They were not as comfortable having to wear like tuck their shirts and stuff. They were, and I can understand also a little bit of where they were coming from.
Sure.
They were trying to meet the fans more on the fan level.
Yeah,
like look, I'm a fan. I also wear like Lego inspired T-shirts and stuff. Like I can understand that.
Sure.
But also you are representing the company, so I can also say like you should look good. That's the whole point. It's a PR role too.
Yeah.
So that was a Keith thing. Keith's the one that said, let's all have universal uniforms. Doesn't exist anymore. that is gone. But for a couple of years, we were all instructed to wear the same thing when we went to shows. And there was a couple other little things he did that I thought was really cool. Up to that point, we were also doing the unveilings for new Lego products. So like new modular buildings, like I've mentioned this before.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the Palace Cinema was a set that I got to announce at Brick Fair, Alabama one year.
Nice.
I remember the only reason it sticks out in my memory is because I remember the Brick Show was there that year. So Jason and Steven from the Brick Show.
Yeah.
And I went on stage and I revealed it and they said, "Hey, can we borrow the model and do a YouTube video?" And I was like, "I guess so." And so they were like literally the first YouTube channel on the internet to have like a video of the Palace Cinema. Nice. And again, at that point, I didn't realize the difference that stuff makes. I'm like, I guess so. I mean, it's on stage. People can take photos of it. But they were like, they actually borrowed the set, went and found like a Brick Fair hideout, which is usually like a squared off draped area. Mm-hmm. Put it on a table and they did a walk around, took the levels off, zoomed in on the minifigs. They did like an in-depth video for like half an hour on it. Nice. And then they posted on the internet and everyone's like, that's not fair. Why did the Brick Show get an advanced copy of this set? And again, like my mistake, I didn't understand. I didn't get it. I get it now, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I get it now. But that was something that happened. I remember that set. So Keith was like, hey, when we do these product unveilings, because again, he's already spent now a year observing us all. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't the only one. Kim and Yan got to unveil products every now and then too. It's like when we do these product unveilings, it doesn't really look good. Like doesn't look like Lego quality. Yeah. Because it's a folding table in the middle of an expo with a Lego set on it with a dingy tablecloth that we pulled off some of his display. Right. Because we are the community team. Remember what I said? Zero budget. We got no money. Right. We make millions of dollars, but we got no money. Right. That goes towards Rebrick development, Lego Ideas development, everything but the community team. So we don't got any money to make anything. So we go to the show. We ask the show, can I borrow a table to put my set on it? Can I borrow a tablecloth to like drape it? But we tried the best we could to make it fancy. Yeah. Be like, and I unveil now the Taj Mahal. Woo! Like it'd be a big thing. Right. And Keith's like, I don't like it. Doesn't look to Lego quality. So he had us commission a very nice like display table. Yeah. It was really nice. It was not very big. It was like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 feet by 3 feet, like a little square. Mm-hmm. And it came in this little crate on wheels, so you didn't have to like ship it. You could just check it as a bag on the airline. I got it. And you could pop it up, and it had like a fitted sheet around it that had Lego logos on all the sides. It had a little glass, almost like a floating glass tabletop with little metal. It had LEDs on the bottom, so it would light up the model. And then we were going to have a black cloth with a white question mark printed on it. The tablecloth never happened, but the table did, and it was awesome. I used it exactly 0 times.
Wow.
So what's funny is we had it made up. We had 2, one for the U.S. office, one for the Billund office, so that we could, as community managers, take it with us to go unveil new products when that happened. And that happened 10 times a year.
Right.
It just so happens that now Keith wanted to start, and again, to his credit, he wanted to be involved. He goes, give me a show in each of your regions and I will be the Lego representative at the show. And I was like, good for you, boss. Good for you. I mean, that kudos to you. Yeah. You know, it's not like Tormund was making that offer. And so I said, okay. So one year, 2014, I guess, I gave him Bricks Cascade in Portland, and he got to unveil the Sandcrawler. So that was the big ultimate collector Sandcrawler back then. Yeah. So he got to take the display table, and it was really cool. It looked really nice. Yeah. And then I think Kim and Yan used it once or twice. Then after that, Lego as a whole, mostly the PR arm, the PR department, said, hold on, wait a minute. Why is the community team unveiling Lego sets at little rinky-dink fan shows?
Oh, jeez.
And so we got pulled into this kind of high-level meeting. I guess I don't even know how to. I guess it got wind. We've been doing it for years. This was an agreement with product design, with Billund product design, saying these are what we consider more AFOL-centric sets. We feel as though it's appropriate for you to unveil them at AFOL-centric shows.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean that the high-res pictures don't go all over the internet. They do. It doesn't mean that other outlets like MTV and Yahoo News and ABC don't get the sets. They do. But we want the fan events to be like the grand reveal. This is not new. Jim had been doing it. Steve Witt had been doing it. I mean, the community team at AFOL shows had been unveiling AFOL-centric sets for decades. But the year of the Lego movie changed everything. This is when Lego was hot. Lego was hot. Could do no wrong. Products were flying off the shelves. The movie came out in February, early on in the year. It was a smash hit. Sales goals were being blown out of the water. Stores were reporting how were your sales this week? We had 1,039% increase. It's this is when money, folks. Money. All of a sudden, everything was changing because money. And so the PR team had just gotten wind, I guess, 20 years late, that the community team did this, and they were not comfortable with that. And so they, straight up took it away. Yeah. They said, we feel as though it's a greater positioning for the Lego group as a whole to unveil new products at partner events, like maybe on the Today Show, or at Fox Studios, if it's like The Simpsons. And I remember this vividly because the first set that was officially taken away from me to unveil was The Simpsons house. That was the first set that I was scheduled to unveil. I was going to use the table for the first time, and PR said, "Halt! No. We had the big meeting, and we never unveiled the product again. They were taken away. I think since then, there's been a sprinkling of products that have been unveiled at fan events. Not many, and they've been very odd and not consistent. But for the whole, it was removed from the community team. That was taken away. I was also particularly mad because they took away the Simpsons house because they said that Fox, the owning company of the Simpsons, wanted to unveil it on their behalf. So like Fox Studios wanted to unveil it and maybe do something cool. Like, I don't know, have Matt Groening or somebody there. And I was like, okay, I don't agree with this, but fine.
Yeah.
You can have it. I can't fight you anyway. Let's just say I really hope it's a pretty sweet reveal.
Right.
And guess what? Never did it.
Yay.
So they took it away. They said we can never do it again. Fox decided, you know what? We don't really know how to do this, so we're not going to do it. So the Simpsons house was actually never revealed anywhere.
Wow.
It never had a physical product revealing. Yes, the photos became available. They were shown online. The press release was drafted and sent, but there was no physical product unveiling anywhere.
Wow.
And I was so pissed. I was like, you take it away and then you don't even do it. I was like, what? Yeah. So that was another thing that happened. Yeah. So I think, for now, I think I'm going to wrap today.
Are you?
We're an hour in.
Yeah.
But I think today was really kind of good. There's a lot of cool things that are happening. To place you on the timeline. We are in 2014. We are in the year of the Lego Movie. I am fully integrated with my new boss. I've spent 2013 traveling to 13 shows, including one in Europe. I've spent 2 weeks living in Billund. And it's all changed for 2014. I'm now told I got to go to 6 shows only.
Wow.
And I need to figure out what those are. I'll leave you guys on the cliffhanger to what shows those are going to be. We learned the Brick Fair New England was brand new on the calendar that year in 2013. Bricks Cascade, I think. Yep, they were brand new. BrickFest Montreal was brand new. You guys got to hear a little bit about my interactions with my new boss and how some of the cool things he pitched and some of the things that I didn't really agree with. And here we are, guys, 2014 now. So we're 3 years away from the end of my career at the Lego Group.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
And then forever sorting really starts. But that's where we're at. Yeah. That's where we're at, folks.
Awesome. I'm still here. Hey.
Do you feel good today, Julian? You feel like you learned some things?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yes, I do. I feel good about where we've come through. Actually, what you guys don't know is I already heard this entire story.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
But ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't mind hearing it again.
It's always a little different.
A little bit. But that was wonderful. Kevin, thank you again for telling us your story.
Absolutely.
Thank
all you guys for listening.
Absolutely. Folks, comment down below. Ask some questions. Make some comments.
Let me know. Get it out there, guys.
There it is. That's Kevin.
Julian's over there.
Yay! Whoop. And remember,
gotta sort those bricks.
Gotta sort those bricks.
Bye everybody.